Hi, I'm Steve with Family Handyman, and today we're going to be installing a solar electrical system onto the van. It's a Renogy system, and it's going to consist of 4 100-watt solar panels that are actually going to feed a solar controller charger that will charge up our 200 amp hour lithium battery bank. So let's get started. We have the panels here, and these are the wires that are actually coming off of each panel, and there's a positive and a negative. These wires actually plug into these connectors that then connect to the wire here that goes inside the van. The wires are nicely coated with either a positive or a negative, and the positive is a male plug, so they can only go into the female socket, which makes it a little bit foolproof so that you can't plug them into the wrong wires. So what we're doing now is we have to get the wires that are all connecting our panels together down into the van to the solar charge controller. So here where we are entering the roof, it is very important that you somehow protect your wires from this bare metal edge, because it is a vehicle, and as this vibrates it could actually cut through the wire or cause the wires to short out. I used some plastic wire loom, and that way this is protected so it can't actually get cut. Alright, so now that we have our wires are all connected on the roof to the solar panels, and they're going into the roof, coming into the van, so the wires are running down inside this pillar and they're coming out right in the bottom back area here, and we are actually going to now install this solar charge controller. After we get this secured, we are going to connect our wires. And one very important point about this particular solar controller, which is Renogy, and I'm unsure of other brands, is that you cannot connect your solar wires to this unit before the battery is connected. So do not connect your solar connection wires, which are from the roof, to this unit until you have the unit connected to your batteries, because it can damage the circuit board. It will actually probably fry it. You always want to make sure when installing any battery cables, any ground lugs or anything, to make sure that they are torqued to the proper torque specifications, and nice and tight, especially in a vehicle, because things can rattle loose easily. Alright, so I have all the wires reconnected to the lugs. We're gonna tighten them up, and then I'm gonna show you a really cool thing about these batteries that actually allows us to essentially turn them on and turn them off. So now what we're going to do, we're actually, we have our battery reconnected, although the battery is currently asleep, so it's actually turned off, if you will. But we're going to connect our cables from the battery to our charge controller. Again, just like with when you're connecting battery cables, we're going to do the same order. So we're going to connect the hot wire from the battery, which is right here, into its proper lug, and I just had some tape on there to cover the end so that it didn't accidentally touch anything when we were doing our little video presentation here. So I'm going to get this tape off, and I'm going to simply insert it in the bottom of the unit. There's actually holes in the bottom that have these lugs in here that hold the cables in place. Alright, so we have our battery cables now connected to the solar charge controller, and a unique feature about these Renogy LiPo batteries is they actually have an activation switch. One of the problems that you can have with lithium iron phosphate batteries is if they are left unused for an extended amount of time and the charge gets to a certain level, they can actually go to sleep, rendering them useless. But Renogy actually came up with a system that you can use this button So this plugs into the uplink side. There's actually two terminals. This is a communication port that allows us to use a Bluetooth device to monitor the status of the batteries, and this other port is for the activation of it. So as we can see, if you look on the display of the solar charge controller, we have a voltage of 13.4 volts, which is just about 100% charged. And next step, we're actually going to connect the solar panels to the charge controller. And again, that has to be done after you have this connected to the battery, or you will cause damage. All right, so again, I just taped this up for safety so that it didn't hit anything, because, you know, while these wires are connected to the panels, they are producing power. And now we're going to go ahead and insert this lead into the positive side of the charge controller. And I'm going to tighten it up. All right, so now I'm just going to double check and make sure that my battery cables are nice and tight and secure, as well as the solar panel cables. They are, and if you look here on the monitor, now we can see that our solar panel is now illuminated here, and it's actually charging the battery. See, there's an indicator light right at the top. That's for your panel, and that's for your battery. And it actually looks like we are successfully generating power. Now for the moment of truth. And let there be light.